Now available, paperback and Kindle Unlimited. ISIS, the main event. It's carnage inside of a steel cage when the goddess next door steps in the squared circle with the beast from the boss in this action-packed all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS, the main event, paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Better get the gold slower, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. Hulk Hogan was greeted with a chorus of boos when he made an appearance on WWE Raw for its debut episode on Netflix.
Doesn't look like it's working out for the audience, brother.
Now, Triple H and many of the WWE creative thought that it would be a good idea to put wrestling icon Hulk Hogan on for a segment of WWE Raw. And they thought that by having Hulk Hogan make this appearance on WWE Raw, it would get a huge pop and basically help WWE Raw get over with the Netflix crowd by introducing them to one of the greatest icons of pro wrestling, because Hulk Hogan basically was the star who was the face of the rock and wrestling era of the 1980s and was considered to be one of the greatest icons of wrestling history of the 20th century, because he was the star who basically took wrestling out of the territories and turned it into a national pastime. And Hulk Hogan's appearance on WWE Raw was supposed to signify that this icon of wrestling making an appearance on WWE Raw as we were entering into the streaming age. This was supposed to be a moment that was supposed to be one that was considered to be one of the great moments in history. Unfortunately, it became one of the greatest moments of wrestling infamy, because once Hulk Hogan stepped out to the crowd, instead of Hulk Hogan getting that pop that many thought he would get as related to the reaction from the crowd, no, what he got was nuclear heat. And nuclear heat in the wrestling world is where somebody just gets so booed that they basically are not over, but they're basically hated by the crowd. And this is a major shock, because Hulk Hogan, again, is considered to be one of the icons of wrestling. And as he's considered to be one of the icons of wrestling, people were basically shocked that Hulk Hogan received this reaction from the crowd.
Doesn't look like you're getting over with the crowd, brother.
Now, some speculate that Hulk Hogan received this negative reaction, or what is considered to be in the wrestling world nuclear heat, for supporting Donald Trump in the 2024 election. However, I don't believe that the reason why Hulk Hogan got that negative reaction or that nuclear heat from the crowd was due to the 2024 election and his support of Donald Trump, because his contemporary, The Undertaker, supported Donald Trump in the 2024 election, and he still came out to a huge pop when he made his appearance after the Rhea Ripley match. No, the reason why I believe Hulk Hogan got that negative reaction or that nuclear heat from the crowd was basically due to racial slurs that he made back in 2015, as he was caught up in a scandal regarding a sex tape that he supposedly participated in with the supposed alleged wife of Bubba the Love Sponge.
Feeling a little inadequate after looking at the people's strudel, brother.
Now, as this sex tape came out, Hulk Hogan used the N-word as related to his daughter and a possible relationship with a black man, and also made these statements as related to going out and saying about being reincarnated as a black man being his karma. And as he made these racial statements, he wound up being forced to resign from the WWE, which pulled him off the WWE Hall of Fame, and also then wound up leading to his merchandise being pulled from the line of WWE and being forced to again leave the WWE in an ignominious fashion. Now, once the scandal was over regarding Hulk Hogan's racist tirade, Hulk Hogan was able to return to the WWE on good terms in 2018, and he's been part of the WWE with a Legends contract ever since then. and he's made sporadic appearances at various WWE events without incident. However, for this premiere episode of Raw, he basically had one of the worst reactions from the crowd in the entire history of his career. And this whole appearance, basically, what happened to the Hulkster was him reaping what he sowed, later than what he sowed, greater than what he sowed, over the course of a 40-year career where he was known for being one of the greatest WWE superstars and wrestling icons. However, what happened to Hulk Hogan as related to that whole incident was him basically being seen by the audience for the monster he truly was behind the scenes. Now, Hulk Hogan on the surface, as related to his public image, was considered to be one of the greatest baby faces in American wrestling history, and was considered to be supposedly the image and icon of an all-American hero, an all-American hero we all loved on screen. However, behind the scenes, he was basically reviled by many of his wrestling contemporaries and reviled by them for many of the things that he did behind the scenes to basically derail the careers of many wrestlers and even keep many wrestlers from being able to go out here and organize and form a union to be able to protect their wages and receive benefits to take care of their health and their retirement. Now, according to some reports, Hulk Hogan was the one who wound up snitching to Vince McMahon when wrestler Jesse the Body Ventura and many other pro wrestlers were looking to go out and form a union, to protect the job security of WWE performers and looking to protect the health care and other benefits that wrestlers needed as related to the job of being a pro wrestler. Because when it came to pro wrestling, this basically is, again, a contract job, and oftentimes the contracts, while they would pay you good money to go out here and be in these matches, oftentimes they did not take care of the talent when they wound up with their contracts ending. And usually once a wrestler got really old and they basically were older and could not work matches anymore, this is where many wrestlers basically wound up, as a result of their health issues, it just wound up eating up all their money, and they had no way of taking care of themselves and no way to be able to take care of their health care once they got older or they had a severe injury when they were off contract. And this is where a wrestlers union would have benefited, again, a lot of performers. And with Hulk Hogan, again, being the biggest star in pro wrestling, he could have gone out here and lent his name to that cause and been the all-American hero and real American. But behind the scenes, he wasn't looking to go out here and be a real American, which is greatly ironic because this patriot basically showed his loyalty to Vince McMahon as related to things, and in many cases went into business for himself by snitching to Vince McMahon in order to keep his ability to go out here and make money and not look out for the needs of other wrestlers. Now, the other beef a lot of other pro wrestlers have with Hulk Hogan is the fact that he went out here and never really wanted to go out here and put over other performers, and this basically led to the rut that WWF ran into from 1983, I believe, when he won the WWF Championship, to about 1987, when his act started to get stale. And because the Hulkster didn't want to do a job, what he did was basically make it where the WWF got stale. Now, there were people they wanted to put the belt on. They wanted to put the belt on Bad News Brown and make him the first black WWF Championship, but the Hulkster scuttled that. Then there were other performers who wanted to be the WWF champion, but the Hulkster never wanted to do the job, and since he didn't want to do jobs as related to wrestling, this prevented many stars from being able to get over, and basically led to the WWF's product getting stale, and led to the really bizarrely booked match with the $1 Million Man buying the WWF Championship, and this was the only way to get the belt off Hulk Hogan. This basically was one of the ways they got the belt off Hulk Hogan, and eventually we started to see some traction where guys like the Macho Man and the Ultimate Warrior eventually were able to become WWE champions, but this whole process of the WWF's growth was stagnated creatively because of Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan did a lot of damage and was considered by many of his contemporaries to be a prima donna as related to the business of wrestling, considered to be a prima donna who basically, again, stagnated not only the WWF, which made him into a superstar, but he also stagnated other wrestling organizations he was a part of. I mean, there were reports over at WCW, once Hulk Hogan came in, he basically started to put his hands in the booking, and as he started to put his hands in the booking, WCW, again, yes, it got big ratings in the beginning, but the whole thing is with the Hulkster in charge, what happened is, again, a lot of performers were not able to rise up the ranks and go up and become superstars because the Hulkster would bury them just like he would at WWE, and further on went over to TNA and did the same thing and almost put TNA straight out of business with his whole approach to things. So a lot of people really, when they think of Hulk Hogan, again, behind the scenes, they have no good words to say about Hulk Hogan, and him getting booed at this Raw was to them basically him reaping what he sowed, later than what he sowed, greater than what he sowed, as related to the way he did business to many of the pro wrestlers, and the way he did a lot of pro wrestlers in this business was really dirty because, again, here was a guy who could have gone out of his way to put over young stars, could have gone out of his way to help young stars basically look good in a match, could have gone out of his way to go out here and put in a good word for people, but instead of doing that and looking to get talent over and pass the torch on to the next man, like many other performers, what Hulk Hogan did was do people dirty. And what happened here with Hulk Hogan, again, getting these boos, is him, again, sowing what he reaped almost 40 years ago when he came into this business. 40 years ago, he came into this business, became the icon of pro wrestling, but never really worked to help another star become an icon just like him. No, he wanted to stay in his place at the top, but as he wanted to stay in his place at the top, he looked to keep everyone down at the bottom. And what happened to Hulk Hogan is that people found out how much of a jerk he was behind the scenes. Now, he had this all-American good guy image as related to his kayfabe character, but as the internet went on and a lot of message boards and videos came out about Hulk Hogan, what happened with the Hulkster is that people started to find out the truth about Hulk Hogan, and as they found out the truth about the Hulkster, they basically found out what a jerk he was behind the scenes. Moreover, they found out how much of a racist he was in 2015, and not to mention found out that he was involved in some, what I would believe to be, perverted behavior with this, according to people above, with the Love Sponge sex tape, where I believe that the whole incident was possibly motivated because he possibly was feeling sexually inadequate when he went back to work with the WWE, and possibly got a look at the People's Strudel, and as he got a look at the People's Strudel, he started to feel inadequate about being in the presence of a black man who had more of a python than his 2-inch garden snake, and had more of a python and as related to the people strudel, than his 2-inch guidance stake, and he couldn't go out here bragging about that 24-inch python anymore. And because he couldn't do that, this is possibly what led to him, again, going on that racist, participating in the sex tape, then going on this racist tirade, which seemed to be a little bit disturbing and somewhat incestuous. I mean, this whole situation with Hulk Hogan, I believe, had to do with him feeling inadequate in the presence of black men like The Rock, black men like Bobby Lashley, and many other black male wrestlers. I think Hulk Hogan has, again, an inferiority complex as related to those wrestlers, and that's what led to him being a racist if he wasn't a racist before. But what happened to this racist is he wound up, again, getting what he deserved sooner rather than later. And instead of him being able to get over with this appearance, what happened was he got the nuclear heat he should have gotten a long time ago, got the nuclear heat that he should have got a long time ago from doing many people in the wrestling world dirty. I mean, this guy, again, I feel no sympathy for Hulk Hogan, feel no sympathy at all for him, because this guy would not do jobs. This guy would not go out here and, again, give another wrestler a rub. No, it was all about him and his homies, and them getting jobs and bringing down businesses like TNA and WCW. I mean, he basically choked the life out of those businesses, and if he came to AEW, it would have been the same thing. And this 72-year-old man was basically shocked at the way people reacted to him, but it wasn't shocking to me at all. The audience just said enough was enough. They were tired of hearing from the Hulkster and believing this stuff about being an all-American when he was basically participating in some anti-American behavior behind the scenes. So when it comes to Hulk Hogan, again, this guy went out here, he was basically thinking he was going to get a pop and be able to sell his beer like Stone Cold. But unlike Stone Cold, who basically respected the fans, respected the audience, and did everything to put over other guys and even help out with other people. I mean, when I think of wrestlers, again, Stone Cold would go out of his way to help out other people. Same thing with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Same thing with Cody Rhodes. I mean, Cody, again, if you watch AEW, he went hard out of his way to put over other guys and try to, again, make it where other people could, again, get work and be able to be seasoned stars. But Hulk Hogan never really did any of this, and since he did not support other wrestlers, they didn't really want to support him as related to, again, this transition from streaming to television. I mean, when it came to things, people were not looking to have him be there at all because Hulk Hogan never passed the torch, and that's why the audience didn't want to pass the torch as we went from television to streaming for the first streamed episode of Raw. And this Netflix era is going to be completely different because you're not going to be able to manipulate the audience. No, you're not going to be able to manipulate the audience. So this is something that many people need to understand, that a wrestler needs to keep their personal life and the professional life at a high standard, because the optics, again, were not really good for WWE with Hulk Hogan. They thought they were going to be able to bring out this icon, but this icon's time is past, and that was shown by the nuclear heat he received on that episode of Monday Night Raw. Now, if you want to check out my book that pays tribute to my love of pro wrestling and the wrestling business, you can check out my ISIS series story, ISIS the Main Event, in paperback and Kindle format, and you can also find ISIS the Main Event at other online booksellers, all on other online platforms by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to help me be able to make more videos taking celebrities to the barbecue, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Now available in paperback. From the author of the critically acclaimed book, The Man Crisis, comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback at Amazon.com and online booksellers today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.